Shalom, shalom. Kahalo Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. And salutations to the brethren in the four corners of the earth, pushing his word in truth and in sincerity. I wanted to say my piece concerning the I guess, I mean, what you want to say, turf war. And basically, everybody in the world is basically fighting for our inheritance, fighting over our land, fighting over our culture, fighting over who has rights to go to the kingdom of heaven, who can read the scriptures, who can't read the scriptures, who's a Israelite by blood and who's an Israelite so supposedly in spirit. You know, everything in this world is based off of the scriptures, and everything and every nation in this world is basically fighting over our inheritance. And that's all it was ever about. Which was the Lord's inheritance. Fighting for that blessing, and that fight never stopped. Ever since Jacob and Esau, that fight for the blessing between Esau and Jacob, is still here now today. The brother numerous amounts of brothers, out on highways and byways, and Esau and his so-called high priest trying to hinder is an example of the fight for our salvation, our inheritance. So I just wanted to make a few things clear. That the nation of Israel is the only nation on this planet that the promises, the covenants, the inheritance, the commandments were given to. And that hasn't changed, even though we've gone into numerous amounts of slavery. Even though we've transgressed, I don't know how many times, but we are still the Lord's people, man. And you can't change what was written in stone. And that's what Esau is trying to do. He's trying to change what's written in stone. That's the whole point of him impoverishing us. If that's the right word. Throwing us in the slums and in the projects and miseducating us and giving us drugs and turning us into all these things that are not resemblant of the people of the Most High, and turning us into people of into a people of destruction, of desolation. Let me just hop right into the scriptures. This is Psalm chapter 147:19. It says, "He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation." Now this should be plain, cut and dry, because on the mountain of Mount Sinai, the Lord gave the law, statutes, and commandments to Moses to give to Israel. Man, there were no other nations around. Sure, you probably had some Hamites around and this and that, but this was specifically written to Israel. He had not dealt so with any nation, meaning he doesn't deal with any other nation but Israel. Point blank. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. And these law, statutes, commandments, matter of fact, yep, these law, statutes, commandments were given to Israel to be an example unto the nations, man. Because we're supposed to be the leaders of this world. We're not supposed to be on the bottom like we are now. We're supposed to be at the top. Showing be an example to these other nations on how to live and how to conduct themselves and how to be the focal point of innovation and intelligence. Because our intelligence comes from the Lord. It says, "Behold," Deuteronomy 4:5, "Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my power commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations." So the law, statutes, commandments, the Torah, and even the prophets in the New Testament, man, and the Apocrypha, this is our understanding. This is our wisdom in the sight of you other nations, man, which the Lord reputes as nothing. Which shall hear all these statutes and say, "Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people." Why? Because we have the Lord. And what nation is there so great that hath statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day? So he didn't give the nations the laws, man. He didn't give them any real understanding and knowledge. He gave all of that to Israel, man. Why do you think Israel was the constructors of this world, man. You know, this modern day world as you see it. Israel built this whole world. You know, we built America, we built the railroads, we built the architecture. Hell, we built the network infrastructure for the for the Wi-Fi. You know, we created the engines for the cars. You know, we created stoplights. We engineered different types of foods, different ways of preserving food. You know, none of this would happen without Jake. You know, the scripture says Israel is the former of all things, man. You know, so we have the knowledge and wisdom and understanding. That's what these scriptures are to us. This isn't just some bootleg way to get to the Most High, or some way to be a hypocrite to try and get accepted in heaven, man. This is our inheritance from the Lord, you know. This is Amos 3:2. It says, "You only have I known of all families of the earth," you know. So Israel is the only nation that the Lord knows, man. You know, He doesn't know these other nations. He doesn't scold them like He scolds us. As the next line will say, "Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities." You know, and our iniquities were going off and a whoring after these other nations and worshiping their gods, man. Because they don't worship the true power of Yahweh Shemel Shah. Because they weren't given the right to do so. You know, so we went and we transgressed the law heavily, you know, and we were punished. You know? And this is the only reason why the rest of the world has our culture and our book and our knowledge today. Because we went into captivity and we stayed going into captivity. You know, we kept going into captivity after captivity, you know, for our sins. And that freed up the other nations to come in and ransack our culture, man, you know, and our inheritance, which should be the whole world by right, you know, which when we get to the end of the video, you know, you're going to see that, hey, we're still the nation of Israel no matter how far we've fallen, man. You can't change that, you know, even though the other nations used our captivity as a catalyst to try and change the Lord's view on us. You know, it still didn't work because Israel's rising again, man. You know, this is the song of the three holy children from the Apocrypha. This is verses 7 through 9. It says, "In all things have we trespassed, in all things have we trespassed, and not obeyed thy commandments, nor kept them. Now they're done as thou hast commanded us, that it might go well with us." You know, see, we didn't keep the law, statutes, commandments. You know, that it should be our wisdom and our knowledge in the sight of the nations. You know, we went and we said, you know what, I want to see what the Chinese God is all about. I want to see what this Egyptian God is all about. You know, wherefore all that thou hast brought upon us and everything that thou hast done to us, thou hast done in true judgment. You know, like last scripture said, man, the Lord punished us for our iniquities, man. You know, in our slavery, in our captivity, in the situation that we are in today, is a direct result from the judgment, man, from us transgressing the law. You know, these other nations can transgress the law. They don't, because it wasn't given to them. They can't sin. You know. "And thou didst deliver us into the hands of lawless enemies." You know, the so-called white man, first of all, then the other nations, man. Because like I said, they weren't given the laws. You know, so they're lawless. You know, they create their own laws and stipulations and mandates and things like that. But they're really lawless, man, meaning that they have no moral compass. You know, the law, statutes, commandments are our moral compass, man. You know, that's the true judgment and the true light of the world. Most hateful forsakers of the Most High. You know, and they hate the Most High because He didn't give them anything, man. He didn't give them any promises. He didn't, and you know, Esau hates the Most High of all because because he didn't get the blessing, man. You know, he didn't get the inheritance of the kingdom of the Most High. You know, so they're most hateful forsakers of the Most High, and to an unjust king, and the most wicked in all the world, man. You know, which is Esau. He's the most wicked in all the world, man. But guess what? Since we've been given to this strange nation, and we've been here for hundreds of years, and we've been getting our asses kicked for thousands of years, you know, Jake took that mentality of being a slave and kept that mentality, man. And now Jake has Stockholm syndrome. You know, now Jake is teaching the other nations the law, statutes, and commandments, and teaching them the scriptures, and trying to break down the understanding, and open up salvation to everybody, man. When it's only for Israel, you know. This is Jeremiah 2:33. Why tremblest thou way to seek love? Wherefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways? You know, and they do trim themselves to seek love, man. You know, the scriptures say that we're not supposed to be together with the other nations. The scriptures say that the other nations are going to be put to death and thrown into slavery. You know, the scriptures say that Esau is going to be done away with after 1,000 years. You know, the scriptures say we're supposed to hate them because they hate the Most High. You know, Jacob missed certain things like that in order to be accepted by these other nations, man. So they went and they taught the other nations the scriptures, man. And now the other nations truly, honestly believe after hundreds of years that they can be saved, man. That there can be spiritual Israelites, or they can be, or they're saved by going to church. You know, as long as they accept the Lord in their heart, which they don't even know that the Lord that they accept is Beelzebub. You know, but beside the point, you know, they've been taught the law, statutes, commandments, and the scriptures, man. You know, all because Jake wants to be a homeborn slave, man. And that's just like, hell, Jake is casting the pearls before swine, man. That's how all this started. Jake casting his pearls before swine, man. This is Matthew 7:6. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, you know. And we know by Exodus 11:7, you know, that the Hamites are dogs, you know. And also, when you go into the parable of Lazarus, you know, the dogs that were licking the sores were the other nations, man. So the dogs in this verse are the other nations. And what is holy is the law, statutes, and commandments, man. You know, the scriptures. Our inheritance from the Most High. It says, give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine. You know, and swine is regarded in the scriptures as the most abominable, unholy food, man. Or, sorry, food, I meant animal, you know. Lest they trample them under their feet. And that's what the other nations are doing, man. They claim that they're about the Most High, and they claim that they're about, you know, about righteousness and judgment. But then they cast the scriptures and the true judgments and the laws behind their back, man. And they trample them under their feet, you know. You know, and they step all over it. And turn again and rend you. Meaning turn again and kill you, you know. Turn again and trouble you, you know. And that's what these other nations are doing. You know, and as they're troubling us, they're trying to seek the kingdom of heaven, trying to prove to the Most High that we've forsaken him, you know, trying to prove to the Most High that they're worthy at the same time as destroying us, you know. You think people like that deserve the kingdom of heaven? Hell no. You know, people like that deserve to live out the rest of their eternity with the Most High? Hell no, man. The Most High isn't going to allow that, you know. That's like, you know, I buy a toy for my son, and, you know, another kid comes over and tries to take, and when it's time for the kid to leave, he tries to take my son's toy home. No, you can't do that. I didn't buy this for you. I bought this for him. You know? It's the same thing, man. Other nations trying to take what's ours. And that's not acceptable, man. And the Lord is taking note of everything that you dogs do, man. You know? He's taking note of everything that you vermin do, man. And when he makes his appearance, there's going to be literal hell to pay, man. You know? This is 2 Ezra 6:54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all. Now, everyone loves to say, oh, we all come from Adam, we're all the same people, we all can get deliverance. But yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, we all came from the Adamites, right? But guess what? Though? There's a certain seed that was accounted for. There's a certain family line that the Lord chose, man. And the people also whom thou hast chosen. Which, if you read the scriptures, man, there's no denying it that it's Israel. Israel is the only nation that's talked about throughout the scriptures. You know, repeatedly. You know, people can try and deny it all they want to, but Israel is the only people that the Lord has chosen. Now they can say, oh, the New Testament opened that up for everybody, and the Gentiles this and the Gentiles that. But even if you pay attention and you go in and you actually read, it still only says Israel. So how is it going to say Gentiles? Then it'll say, oh, you men of Israel, you know, or Israel this or Israel that, you know. So something's just sparking your mind and says, hey, these Gentiles gotta be Israelites, you know. But guess what? The Lord blinded the world, man, and that's all right. But guess what though? The nation of Israel is the people that the Lord have chosen, man. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. You know? For our sakes, man. Going back to going back to Amos 3 and 2. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Psalms 147. He showeth his word unto Jacob and his statutes and judgments unto Israel. You know? And now, so not that we only have the law, statutes, commandments, and the promises, but now we have the whole world that was created for us. All this have I spoken before, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people, which also come of Adam, so now this is getting into the other nations. It's obvious that the last two verses were talking about Israel, and now it's getting to the rest of the nations of the world. Thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel, man. Meaning that you don't mean anything to the Lord, you know. So all this desperate measures that you're trying to put up to reap the benefits of our inheritance, man, it's going to be all for naught, you know. All of the Christian churches and the Roman Catholic Church and the Christian organizations and Rosicrucians and these in the Bible thumpers and the Bible Gateway the um, and the gatekeepers, you know, all that's going to fail, man. All these wayward doctrines, you know, that you're using to pull the other nations in and using to pull Jake away from the true gospel of the Lord, that's not going to work, man. And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which thou hast been reputed as nothing, which have ever been reputed as nothing. So you've always been nothing to the Lord, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us, you know. And that happened through slavery, man, through captivity, you know. And your lords over us right now, man, and devouring us at this very moment, you know, trying to prove to the Lord that, you know, you're worthy and we're not, man, you know. But at the same time, you're the ones that are destroying us. But we thy people who thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten and thy fervent lover are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? You know, so how long are we going to be in this position, man, where we're at the bottom? And not too much longer, man. You know, not too much longer. When the Lord makes his appearance, man, it's going to be known who the Lord's chosen is, man. You know, all the chemicals in the water and in the air and in the food and the drugs in our communities and the wealth gap, the redlining, you know, the gentrification, the impoverishing, you know, the miseducation, all of that is going to stop, man. You know, and none of that is going to work, man. None of it. You know, this is Lamentations chapter 2, verse 15. You know, because at this time, this is what the other nations do, man. They clap their hands at. They clap, they laugh, they hiss. Oh, those are supposed to be the people of God. You know, they can't be the people of God. You know, look what they're doing. Look at their women. Their women are gyrating in their whores and they're shaking their asses on YouTube. Look at their men. Their men are thugged out and gang banging and don't want to do anything with their lives and they don't want to take care of their families and you know and they're all strung out on drugs. You know, this is Lamentations 2 and 15. All that passed by clapped their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? So they mock us, man. They put us in this situation and now they're mocking us for it. All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we looked for. We have found, we have seen it. You know? So now they're saying, you know what? We finally got these niggas. We finally got the nation of Israel right where we want them. They're totally destroyed. The Lord can't possibly want them to be his people now. He has to choose us. Wrong. The Lord hath done that which he had devised. He hath fulfilled his word that he had commanded in the days of old. He hath thrown down and hath not pitied, and he hath caused thine enemy to rejoice over thee. He hath set up the horn of thine adversaries. So they laugh and they say, "Ha, the Lord threw you down, man. He dethroned you, and now we're at the top. You know, this is our kingdom of heaven. You know, but that can be far from the truth, man. But at the same time, while they mock us, I mean, it's true. You know, but this is what they have done to us, man. This is Second Ezra chapter 10, verse 22. Our psaltery is laid on the ground. Our song is put to silence. Our rejoicing is at an end. The light of our candlestick is put out. You know, so that knowledge and wisdom in the sight of the other nations, that's gone now. The ark of our covenant is spoiled. See? By the other nations, man. Our ark of our covenant was taken. Our holy things are defiled, and the name that is called upon us is almost profaned. You know, because no one cares about the Yahweh Bashem Yahushua anymore. You know, 2/3 of us, anyway. Our children are put to shame. You know, they call our children little convicts, little criminals. You know, you're going to be dead or in jail by 21, things like that. You know, proverbs and bywords. Our priests are burnt. You know, our Levites are gone into captivity. You know, the so-called pastors in churches, they're burnt, man. You know, they're all dried up. They have no oil. You know, our virgins are defiled, and our wives ravished. You know, and you see how our women just out there, man. Our righteous men carried away. Our little ones destroyed. Our young men are brought in bondage, and our strong men are become weak. And this is what has become of the nation of Israel, man. You know, this is what has become of our people. But guess what? Even after all of that, Israel is still the Lord's chosen, man. This is Romans 9, and I'm going to start at verse 4. It says, "Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises," man. You know? So we were still given all of that. Now, this is the New Testament. I read all that from the Old Testament to bring it up to now, you know? Because everybody wants to shout, "Oh, Paul said this, Paul said that." Well, Paul said that the Israelites pertained to the law, the adoption, the covenants, the promises, the service, you know? Me and the Holy Spirit, you know? The kingdom of heaven. Now, let me just scroll down really quick. Verse 7, it says, and this is going to explain to you why the nation of Israel was chosen. It says, "Neither because they are of the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of the Most High." Now the children of the flesh would be the Ishmaelites, you know. But the children of the promise are counted for the seed. For this is the word of promise. At this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son. Now this is referencing back to Genesis. Verse 10. "And not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one," now Rebekah only had one child, man, which was even by our father Isaac. "For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth." So it's basically, this is telling you that the Lord chose them because he wanted to. You can't combat that. "It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger, as it is written, Jacob have I loved." You know, so the nation of Israel has the Lord loved, man, but Esau have I hated. So he hates Esau, point blank, period. You know, and Israel was chosen not because of anything that they did, because they weren't even born yet, but because he wanted to. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with the Most High? God forbid. You know, so that means hell no. The Lord does what he wants, man. For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. Meaning, I created you, so I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want with you. You know, and that's it. You know, this is the story. This is start to finish. This is the end game, man. After all that's said and done, after all of our transgression of the law, after all of the rape, rob, murder, the captivities, the slaveries, the tortures that we've gone through, the destruction by design that other nations have put on us, you know, in order to steal away our blessing, so to speak, or to bestow our blessing on the whole world. And it still didn't work, man. We are still the people of the Most High, man. The Lord has not forsaken his people, you know. And we will reap the kingdom of the Most High. You know, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, man. So I want to give all praises, call halal Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Ruel. And salutations to the brethren on the four corners of the earth, pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. Shalom.